What's up, everyone? Welcome to another parallel lending video. I'm your host. I'm Stephen Hamner. I'm one of the original investors in Parallel, the private lending company that we're talking about. I'm also part of the relational aspect with other investors. We got Eric Boshart, who's one of the co-founders of Parallel, as always, joining us. And we're going to talk about a special topic today, one that we get every time we talk to investors or people just in general trying to learn about this industry, and that's how we mitigate risk, how we go about mitigating risk. We could have hours of videos of how we're going to do that, but we're going to have two quick parts, right? We got part one, then the next week we'll have part two, or whenever we release the next one, part two coming up. And so we're going to talk in a bit more detail, not just on, the basic underwriting approach. Like the basic underwriting approach, we go like credit score, we do our appraisals, all that stuff, mitigates risk and allows us to loan. But we want to go into a bit more detail on other ways we go about mitigating risk. So with this part two, or this part one, we're going to talk about two kind of ways that we go about doing that and protect investors' capital and money. So Eric, one, good morning. How you doing? And then two, go ahead and lead us with like our first kind of main way we go about mitigating risk in this lending sphere.
Awesome. Yeah, doing great. I'm excited to talk about this because this is our primary function as lenders. Our entire job is preservation of capital that's been entrusted to us. So we are constantly looking for ways in which to mitigate risk as effectively as possible, while still being able to generate the returns that we're generating. So I think that the first one that we can probably talk about is the construction process. This is, you and I are both investors ourselves and real estate flippers. We know how kind of arduous the construction process can be. So we kind of have unique insight into flipping a single family home. It's not easy. You have problems with contractors. You have problems with busting down a wall and finding things that you might not have been able to find. So when you originally closed on the property. So we definitely understand that and flippers go through this all the time. But I think the two ways that we mitigate the construction process is we hold back the construction portion of the loan in our bank account and only release that in draws as line items in the scope of work that's been agreed to have been completed by the borrower. So we'll provide some money for the purchase of the property, based on the agreed upon loan amount. They'll provide a down payment, and usually we'll cover 100% rehab. But again, we're not giving that up front at closing. We're giving that, usually 5 or 6 separate draws over the life of the renovation process. So we'll have the scope of work. The borrower will complete, let's say flooring, for example, and then either my brother and I or someone else, maybe a third-party inspection company, will go out, take pictures, confirm that line item is actually 100% complete, and then only after that do we release that the line item, the budgeted line item for flooring. And so we'll do that with roof, we'll do that with plumbing, electric, foundation, HVAC, all that stuff. And so, if anything goes awry, we have the construction portion in our bank account, so that's not leaving us. So that's really important for us. And even if it's 90% complete, we don't feel comfortable, lending on that or releasing that draw. The second and probably most important part is we walk the property with the borrower and understand, kind of the way that they're thinking about flipping the property. We have a really good understanding of DFW, really on, Fort Worth for sure on a street by street basis, Dallas on a subdivision by subdivision basis. So we understand if someone's coming and saying, we're going to put, laminate countertops in this, neighborhood that's, commands $500,000 properties. We know we can kind of scrutinize that a little bit more. Or if they say, I'm going to replace this roof, for $750 because I got a really good guy who's got a deal on shingles, we know that that's not really possible. So we can really scrutinize these things. We can walk the property and they say, I'm going to open up this entire, first floor, and we see that all the walls are load bearing. There's no possible way to do that. We can definitely kind of, talk with the borrower, make sure that they understand what they're doing. If they've done it 100 times, we'll definitely defer to their experience. But most of the time, there are some things in the scope of work that look a little funky just based off our experience. So the construction part is a really important part of this hard money single family fix and flip loan, and we try to mitigate that as much as possible. And these are two avenues in which we do so.
I think that's a good example of at least what Parallel does, and staying kind of small and knowing the area. Is you and Alex, who the other co-founder of Parallel, y'all can go and walk the properties. I think that's a unique aspect of a lending business. But also, I want to give a quick example on the first topic you mentioned about how we release the construction loan and draws, right? Once they prove that the project's done, the new roof is done, boom, here's your cash. A good example of how that mitigates risk, and we won't get into detail on the exact loan, but we had the loan recently where they were completed with everything. It's on the market, it's for sale, and they still had like $30,000-$40,000 left, and their construction portion aside that we could lend out, but they didn't even need it. And so that's 30, 40,000, whatever the number was, that's making interest for the investor. That's at no risk at all because it's not needed, right? So I think that's another just good example of, hey, if even if the borrowers don't use all the money that they have the opportunity to use, it's still making money for investors, and it's a way to keep it safe. So I think those are two great topics, or two great ways to mitigate risk. And again, we could talk about this for hours. There's so many different ways we go in detail, but we just wanted to hit real quick on it. So again, this is part one. Me and Eric are going to come back and do part two and have another kind of few ways we mitigate risk. But with that said, if there's any questions or any examples, let us know in the comments below. And remember to like, subscribe, all that YouTube jargon. It does help us grow, but we wanted to help put out good information for investors, for borrowers, just real estate investors in general. And so, Eric, any other closing words before we get out of here?
No, I'm excited for part two.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.